Hello everyone, this is my reviews for the comic Bento box for December 2015. The theme of the month was throwbacks, and so we've got a lot of things that kind of go back in time from what the modern era is. So starting with the first volume, it's the Marvel Masterworks Incredible Hulk Volume 2. This was actually a random assortment that they did, so not everybody got the exact same volume, I think. Based upon some of the other videos that I've seen, as well as the card that was included, just listed a bunch of various things. This particular volume, though, was rated T+, was by Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby, and a host of other people. I'm not going to get too far into that because of the random assortment that there was for that. This one reprinted Tales to Astonish numbers 59 through 79. 248 pages, $24.99. Original cover price, if you had bought it in the early 60s, would have been about $2.52. Or if, as I consider to be more of a valid weight of what was actually here, $49.99 if you had bought the hardcover, because that $49.99 is part of what's paying for the restoration efforts in doing the art cleanup and coloring updates and getting it on really quality paper. But those are the ones that are put out in hardcover. And to do these paperback variants therein, to me, is just it's a little bit of a cheat. It's cutting short the idea of what it is to have the archival efforts of the Marvel Masterworks and also the DC archive editions. I really feel like that the hardcover, if you're going to be buying reprints of stuff from the early days of either of these companies, the hardcover really is the way to go. And when the company chooses to put it out again afterwards in a paperback, that focuses people on, oh, well, I'll wait for the paperback version because I don't want to spend $50 for it. And that's where you lose sales on things that should be funding these efforts to do the archival processing. So I really didn't care for that aspect of it, and to that degree I'm going to give it a 4.0. I like having the history. I like seeing the original stories. Stan Lee is not the best author out there. He's got a lot of great ideas, yeah, but his scripting is not the best. But a lot of what made this volume so endearing to me was that it was the history of the character that was presented. However, Marvel's efforts to not have it be a quality volume in terms of having it be archival in a hardcover, or barring that, a lot of pages but only black and white the way they do with their essentials, I just didn't care for that. I would rather have seen more pages, but no color in that, in order to do it as an essentials edition would have been much preferred for me. Moving on to the next volume, though, we have Youngblood Volume 1, Focus Tested. This is also not rated. This is from Image by Joe Casey and Derek Donovan. Reprints Youngblood Volume 4-ish, I think. Issues 1 through 4, it's 104 pages, $9.99 price on the volume. Original cover price would have been $12, so a little bit of a value there. I'm going to give this a 6.5, like a lot of the other stuff that Rob Liefeld's been involved in. Somebody else takes control of the property, and they do a better job of it than he does. So it was a very interesting read, not something that I was incredibly into, but it definitely had a better pacing, a better storytelling angle than what usually you see with Rob Liefeld's stuff that he does directly himself. So it was very interesting. I was glad to get a chance to read some of that. I wasn't real familiar with Youngblood since I've never been a Rob Liefeld fan. I've never read any of the other stuff that was related to that. But the idea of there being kind of a media savvy, like if the real world, was superheroes, not just, 7 strangers picked to live in a house kind of thing. I really enjoyed the idea behind that, and I think that Joe Casey brought the detail to it that was necessary that Rob Liefeld kind of just like threw out as an idea and then didn't really fully flesh out in a way that was quality storytelling. But good read overall. Enjoy it generally. Again, 6.5, so a little bit better than the halfway point, but not a whole lot because the characters weren't terribly interesting in a meaningful way. Third on the volume was Battlestar Galactica Volume 1 Memorial. It's rated T+ from Dynamite. Written by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning with art by Cesar Rezek. Reprints Battlestar Galactica 1 through 5 from Dynamite. It's 128 pages, $19.99 price on the volume. Original cover price would have been $20, so much like many of the other Dynamite volumes that have been in the boxes so far, it's pretty much a break even on the cover price. I'm going to give you this one a 5.0. It was a good story. I enjoyed it. The artwork was quality. The pacing was very good. The biggest thing for me that was a bit of a hurdle is I wasn't really into the original Battlestar Galactica. I only ever watched the last, the remakes rather, and I only watched 2.5 or 3 seasons of that. Didn't watch the movie that was Pegasus for that. So some of the characters as depicted with the original actors weren't ones that I recognized because I'm familiar with the remake versions as opposed to the originals. So I think that kind of affected me as a modern reader that might not if I was an older reader or someone who had gotten into it before they chose to do the remake. But overall, it was pretty decent. It was certainly worth the read. I enjoyed it for that aspect, but I wouldn't go any further than just the initial reading. Last thing in the volume was the thing that made it, the very special comic Bento. That was the 5th Beatle, the Brian Epstein story. It is not rated. It's from Dark Horse by Vivek J. Tiwari with art by Andrew C. Robinson with Kyle Baker. It's an original graphic novel. This is 168 pages, $49.99. Original cover price would be $49.99. I looked this up on Amazon just to see what it was going for. This was a $19.99 thing on Amazon, which kind of surprised me. But then when I finally took it out of the plastic and saw that this volume that I had in my hands was actually a different ISBN than what they were selling on Amazon. This has additional behind-the-scenes stuff, sketches, early ideas of what the story was. So this is very much the collector's edition. I enjoyed it. If I was recommending this to somebody who didn't already have one in their hand, I would say go ahead and pay just $20 instead of $50 for it. Get the cheaper volume. But it was a very good read. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I was not unaware of Brian Epstein's influence on the Beatles, but I wasn't as aware as I think I am now. And so I really liked kind of the true history aspects that they were able to depict via the sequential art storytelling. So I really liked this one. This one was great. Unfortunately for me, it's going to mean that I've got to redo my bookcase because this volume being tall enough, it's not going to fit on the shelves that I've got my Dark Horse stuff on, so I'm going to have to move things around. Minor problem, first world problems there. So overall, good box. Loved this one. This particular volume a lot. Everything else was at least a decent read. So that is it for the December 2015 box. I will have a review for the whole of 2015 coming out in the next few days, just as an overall arching thing. And then finally, I'm ahead of the game, and the January 2016 is just now past the due date. So I have 2015 in my review mirror, and I will be able to get the January box out at normal speed. And when the January box ships, I'll actually have all of December and all of 2015 already done, so that'll be great. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you again. Thanks.